Scott.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. It's pretty bad when I have to start the stream muting Neil consistently because it's the only way we could hope to get the stream actually started. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today?
Scott's dad. Okay, boomered him.
I don't see it.
The hype train.
Is the hype train actually officially started? Woo-woo.
No, but I'm look, Scott, just don't boomer it, all right? Just be like, woo, hype train, and people will all get bored.
Oh God, my shoulder. I'm just happy I can actually reach over my head. Ow, over my head now. But like, if I do sudden movements, it's pretty rough.
How old are you now, Scott?
Your mom. That's my answer.
God damn. Well, what I was gonna say when you inevitably answered that was, don't get used to it.
Oh.
You've only got a few more years of that sort of movement before it's all gone.
Yeah, I know. Anyways. So before we officially jump into this, I do want to say we actually, because of the time slot of this one, officially recorded our first pre-show for this campaign. I'm gonna upload it over onto Patreon for the patrons of I think it's the $2 what do they call it? The commoner, the peasant tier, whatever we call it, the $2 tier.
The Scott tier?
The basic tier. Sounds so aggressive. Over there, so you guys can kind of enjoy listening to the rambling antics of Neil and everybody else just kind of like nodding along while trying not to sleep. So
I talked the least. And now everyone's going to go watch it because they're going to be like, I don't believe that.
They don't need to. They already know. Anyways, so boys, I'm excited for the session. Who here is the most excited for it?
You.
You.
Yeah.
I'll be more excited when it's confirmed I'm in the session.
That is a fair.
Oh, that's a real shame, Will, because I've got like 3 monologues lined up.
So you have to understand. Yeah, you have to understand, Will. These boys actually watched the Lost Initiative show we did with what's his name there, Tyler, and they were like, "Ooh, splitting the party so not everybody gets to play is like the best thing that's ever happened to D&D. Let's make that our campaign." And so this has become Aurorum split the party. That's.
I'd like to call it a split maker, which would have been a lot better.
Check Discord for a second. Hey, Daelric, I want something blah, blah, blah. I don't want to specify whether blah, blah, just to spend a blah, blah.
Oh, no. Great.
Right. That was subtle, wasn't it? Listen, my response is always,
whoa.
Go right ahead.
I just did the whole like watch an ad for bits and they gave me 100 bits. That's like never happened to me.
Wow.
I was like, what? Okay.
That's wow.
Time to go spend those on Tyler's channel.
Ooh, wow.
Apocalypto_12.
He's live right now.
He's playing COD.
That's where our other 300 viewers are.
I was supposed to go and try to hang out with him, but I got home from work so late last. I'm not going to sit here and blather on about this so late last night.
No, we get it. When you're as old as you are, late nights, they really.
And then I tried to watch a movie with Brittany, and I fell asleep in 15 minutes. To be fair, though, it was Black Panther, so you know.
Well, you don't like it because
actually, Black
Why
Panther. Why
exactly don't you like it?
Black Panther is actually one of the best of them. It's so unique and different. There's only one thing about Black Panther that I legitimately, it turns my stomach. The dude
CGI
that
fighting?
has no, that was fine. The dude that has literally like a proper dinner plate inside of his mouth, like the big turquoise dinner plate that's like this big. Every time he's on screen, I literally have to look away because it turns my stomach. I'm like, I cannot stare at
that. The CGI fighting is egregious in that movie.
I'm fine with it. Because it's pretty badass fighting. It's just
no, it's awful.
No, the final fight scene.
They don't even move like real people.
But he's not
you need
supposed
to
to be
watch
superhuman.
Corridor Digital's breakdown of that. The people who made that scene, in terms of the animations of the scene, got absolutely zero say in how they set it up, and had like a fraction of the time to animate it.
Civil War,
They
they
had to
use
cut-
a suit that tracks his movement to do when he's in his suit, and then that last fight scene, they
They
just
didn't do that.
meh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
to be fair, Will,
The
to be
animation
fair,
team
I was
tried
sleeping.
their best.
I fell asleep. So when I finish that movie in a few days, I will give you a fresh.
Lighting is terrible. The movement is terrible. The fact that the whole entire scene, the train, everything is all CGI. Just watching cartoons at that point.
I will
what's
have
wrong
to
with
give you
cartoons,
a
huh,
new
Will?
opinion soon. And I don't call those cartoons. I'm sorry, cartoons are like Aladdin. That was a cartoon. You know what I mean? But like once you get to like I don't know, Ed, Ed and Eddie, it's like that's not even a cartoon anymore.
What? Ed, Ed and Eddie's a cartoon.
How dare
It's
you?
probably the most similar to Aladdin out of like any of the cartoons you could think of.
I know. I just brought it up because it's a terrible show. But when you watch the things like Powerpuff Girls, that's not even a cartoon anymore. That's all like
Also
computer generated
animated.
images. It's just computer generated. Though it's not hand drawn. It's not proper. It's not beautiful. Anyways, why are we on this? Why are we distracted right now?
I don't know. I just got another 100 bits for watching another one, so I'm just gonna keep doing this.
America. Hi everybody. I seriously though, Will, I will give you an updated opinion after I finish watching the movie.
That is enough,
Well,
Scott.
I appreciate that.
On to the recap.
And the best character in the entire movie is his younger sister. I love that character. She's
Oh,
so
for
funny.
sure. She's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. She's
Awesome.
When she's like, can we just end this? This corset is really tight. I was like, oh my god. Oh, so good.
Fury is the best.
Yeah, she's the best character. All right. Anyways, hi everybody. Welcome to the show. This is the show where we trigger Neil because we like to see the British Empire fall. So I suppose.
I'm fairly certain in this scenario, the British Empire is Peridel because it owns most of the world.
And I believe you're trying to collapse it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
So I'm not triggered by that.
Are you trying to say that you're America in this?
No, I'm more like France. We want to contest with Peridel throughout the ages, but we never truly manage
Oh,
it.
God. Here we go. I was waiting for it. If that's the case, if you are France, then can Val have been our
Flag.
oh God, what was her name?
Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc.
Oh God, I was like, what the hell is her name? Like the 12.
I was like, come on, come
Was
on,
Val
Scott.
burned at the stake?
I mean, close enough. He jumped off a bird. You know.
Giant eagle, wooden stake, same sort of mounting situation.
Yeah, you know. All right, here we go. I
Hype
love that the hype
train.
train just officially triggered 45 minutes later. So
45.
I'm curious if we we didn't officially complete level 5 yet. I was kind of hoping. All right, if we complete level 5 hype train, what are we gonna do for these boys? I think I have an idea. If we complete, oh God, here we go. If we complete level 5 hype train, we are going to at some point in time give Jake a new proper axe.
Oh my god.
Oh shit! It's Jake looks up like it's happening.
No, Jake's confused. He's like, why are you being nice? Are you going to take this one as well? Why are you doing this?
Once more with feeling.
Jake, are you trying to get yourself up? Oh!
I knew that was coming.
You know,
Yeah,
what,
same.
you know what? Since Jake kind of cheated and he's trying to buy himself his own
You
axe,
would. I thought this was pay to win. All right.
I think instead we'll give Neil a new magic weapon.
Wow.
Sorry, another.
I thought it came in hot for me. All right. All right, just ignore that.
No, I'm just kidding. Beautiful. All right, let's go live. Let's go live. Let's get started. How long have we been doing this? 10 minutes and we haven't started yet. Last night there was an
That's
arrival.
unusual.
Paid off though, quite literally.
Pay to stay. That's a good one. I like that.
Jesus, 357% level 5 hype train. Oh my God.
It's It's nearly a full circle of hype train.
That is.
I
that
mean,
is,
people
yeah.
just want me to get my axe.
People want me to be the first tiefling, actually, Jake. I mean, that's what they want.
That's
actually
true.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
People are thirsty for that outcome.
Well, I think there's two reasons for that. One, I think people would love to see that kind of like transition happen in the world. And two,
It is
can I
interesting,
play
isn't
one
it?
in the world?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
as both of those things.
They've actually told
Tieflings
their,
are very, very popular.
they've actually told their own personal DMs like, hey, listen, I don't want you to start a campaign in this world until Tiefling gets unlocked. So if you could properly get that done for me. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Last night, you guys had at 2 a.m. An arrival at your doorstep, a very obnoxious one. A couple of extremely rude representatives of the Arcane Congress. Unfortunately, it seems like rude members of the Arcane Congress have only been what you've encountered thus far.
That's the problem. We haven't seen any alternative.
It was unfortunately during a situation that was so extreme at the time that you guys had to just be like, hold them off, while you had to sneak a few people invisibly out the door, hoping that they don't notice you, hoping they weren't actively detecting magic or see invisibility or anything like that at the time, so you can go and pop out the other door so you can kind of get through this. So we had Ilan, Rayrin, and who was the other one there? Kithel? No. Who's the one that went with you? Guinevere, thank you. And Guinevere sneak with you through the portals, and she was completely shocked by that as you guys appeared inside the other doorway. When you appeared in the other doorway, again, you were met by guards of Hod Gwen, not by orcs, which wasn't questioned originally by Jake, and I don't think Rayrin would anyways. And then
Look, we didn't have time for that, buddy. All right.
And then from there, you went and wanted to go speak with Idric, but you said you would give him till morning, because obviously he would need some proper rest. You then had your quick little meeting with the Arcane Congress, wherein they were being, again, extremely rude. Some small readings were made, and then they were like, if you want a conference, you can. And then they were like, fine, but if you want breakfast, you better have it early, because... And again, it was a super, super obnoxious scenario. Now, Jake, obviously you would want to call to your party to try to bring them back, or you were thinking about doing so. If you had to guess based off of the obnoxious level of way that the Arcane Congress is kind of handling you, if you had to guess, you'd probably assume they wanted to meet with you at like a good 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And all that originally transpired at about 2 a.m. You probably didn't even comfortably get into bed until about 3 in the morning, which is frustrating. What would kind of be, because obviously your character would get some degree of sleep, right? Even if it's just a couple hours. What would your tact be? How would you want to handle this?
I think what he would do, as soon as that meeting was over and they were straight out, I think Ravina showed them to their room or whatever. First thing I would say to Elliot actually is, what are the charges that we're accused of?
My apologies. So you would go in kind of like as everything's settled down and whatnot, you would go in, of course, call to Elliot to come and speak with you. I'm like, what are the charges you're accused of? And he's like, well, there's a bunch of them actually that had happened. First of all, they said that there was illicit use of greater teleportation magics, 2 accounts of it. There was an illicit use of magics to summon the dead. There's, of course, one account here that I imagine just the phrasing of it is in reference to the fact that there are so many undead that exist inside the kingdom. There's also one used to summon someone from the dead in a more permanent. Again, the phrasing here is strange, and it's a little difficult to navigate exactly what they're saying without having some more time to study it. But I think they're referring to the situation with Leon. Beyond that, there's also other castings of spells that, frankly, I'm not sure what they're referring to. Greater conjuration magics and the like that I have no understanding of who or when or how this took place. I wish I could give you a bit more detail. It's just you were in the meeting. I got to read the thing very briefly. They handed it. They were very rude, and I think we're going to kind of have to parse through this piece by piece as we go. I'm going to try to copy down exactly what it is that I had read, and see if I can digest it a little bit better.
Yes, please do. You said you think one of the charges there was what's happened to Leon. Am I getting that right?
If I had to guess, yes, because there are two specific charges about the conjuring of the dead. Actually, my apologies, three charges of the conjuring of the dead that transpired. One of them, though, again, the phrasing was a little bit funny on it. One of them, if I had to guess, was the apocalyptic situation that we're dealing with at the moment. And then the third one was the way they phrased it wasn't about contacting or summoning of the dead. It was of returning the dead. And if I had to guess, that was, the assassination attempt with Leon.
So forgive me, Elliot, but I was under the impression that the Arcane Congress, their laws pertain to the Arcane. Leon was brought back by Vrogar himself. So forgive me, but am I wrong in thinking Thunwaddle, whatever his name was, this was not explained. They dare to stake claim over the divine. Is that what you're trying to tell me here?
I mean, they're saying that there was a break of laws, and they are defining these things as being breaking of the laws. I don't know if they're saying that it's pertaining to divine versus arcane. I honestly don't know. We're going to have to kind of figure that out one step at a time as we go. I have a couple of ideas of how I think I want to go about this, but frankly, I'm going to need some time and a very large brewing of coffee.
Of course, you'll be of the utmost help, Elliot. I dare to think that this is going to require not just you, but should require my own and Rayren's attention. I think I may fetch him, and we can tackle this problem head on. I don't think having yourself or myself alone dealing with this is probably the right thing to do.
I agree with you on that, and obviously we know what their intention is on we know what their intention is in the morning. My suggestion is we try to head them off. It may irritate them a little bit, but perhaps we try to head them off and have them, greeted with a kind face pretty early. Maybe we send Ravina to distract them, buy us a little bit more time as we prepare.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think I should probably fetch Rayren and maybe Rayren and Ilan as well. Bring them back here tonight, so there is no time lost in the morning.
I mean, truth be told, Grishka, he doesn't say Grishka. Truth be told, Chosen, you look exhausted. You should probably catch even just a short rest before you go and retrieve them. I'm sure Rayren could use the time as well.
Okay, have someone wake me in a couple of hours.
He nods, and then he says, he's new here, but Ilan is from Paradel, and they pretty strictly follow the laws in Paradel. Perhaps having him here on the council and leaning into some degree of say wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Maybe it could show a degree of faith or transition. standing in, of course, to juxtapose, Rayrin, who is almost a spit in their eye.
It's not a bad idea. I'll discuss it with them, I guess, when I'm able to catch up with them.
He nods, and as he's kind of like thinking for the conversation to end, he stops, he looks back and says, quick question. You, at one point in time, used to gather a large sum of scrolls and potions. Amongst your stockpile of goods that you've maintained, do you happen to have a couple of lesser restoration spells on hand? Preferably in the scroll form, since potions are generally for the more immediate.
Me personally, I do not cast from scrolls.
But I can.
They might be with Valorant's belongings.
Where are they stored?
Most of his personal effects, I'd say, would be at the shrine, temple now.
I'm pretty sure.
But I think the scrolls would be, I don't know, I assume we would have taken them.
Probably best not to have the scrolls on display in public where people can use horrifically powerful.
No, that's what I'm saying.
magic.
They wouldn't. The scrolls wouldn't have been taken.
Yeah, that's what
Personal
I'm
effects of Valorant were there, but the scrolls would have been obviously taken because they're still useful.
Oh, very likely his library then.
He had.
Very likely his library then. I honestly hadn't checked inside there, and I'm just looking over his sheet right here really quickly. Scroll.
I have deliberately not touched anything, so you can easily go back there and see what I had on me.
Yep, no, you're fine. Invisibility. Unfortunately, you do not have one of those. He's like, okay, I'm going to look through there and see if I can find one, and something just to make sure that in the morning time I'll be alert as to what's happening.
Elliot, don't forget, whoever you make sure you tell the guard that is stationed outside my bedroom door to be the one to wake me. I don't need anyone else blowing up.
He chuckles and says, perhaps we need a better method of defense. He thinks for a moment and says, a protection like that on the door leading into the map room is perhaps a good idea. But to our various bedrooms? And then kind of like lets it dangle there. And then says, I'm going to get to work. Please catch some rest.
He'll nod. And he'll wait for Elliot to leave.
And he does.
Yeah, then he would take his axe out.
And kill himself.
Nope. He'll walk to his room, but on the way somewhere, he'll probably just throw his axe at the wall because the Arcane Congress have made him extremely angry. Then he'll go to sleep.
Okay. Luckily, the wall's made out of stone, so it just kind of bounces off. It doesn't really do anything exciting there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep blathering for a moment until he comes back. I want you to make me a strength check to see if it sticks in the wall or bounces off. Just because for me that's funny.
Rolls a
It'll probably
one,
bounce off. Probably
and
hits
it bounces off.
back at
Hits
me.
him in the eye.
You throw it, and it unfortunately just kind of, it does hit the wall and bounces off a little bit, and so it just kind of lands, slides back by your feet. Wow, Elliot rolled a 1 in linguistics. God damn it, Elliot! And he rolled a 2, and he rolled a 2 in knowledge arcana. Oh my god,
Elliot
rolled a 2 and a 1. God damn
I'm a
it, Elliot!
skill monkey.
He is. Look, he rolled a 2 and got a 15. Rolled a 1 and got a 16. He's amazing. But god damn it, Elliot! Jesus, we need you.
One of these days, you're going to start rolling decently, Elliot.
Leave Elliot to deal with the Arcane Congress.
Well, this isn't one of those rolls. And then
I know, it's a joke.
All right, and that was another thing for him. Cool. All right, so you go to sleep for let's say, because like I said, it was probably about 3 a.m. when you finally get to bed. We'll say it's about just shy of 5 a.m. You've got less than 2 hours of sleep when you get woken up. Now these other boyos, they actually I believe Rayrin, you guys actually slept inside the keep. That way you didn't go out into Greater Hod Gwen, correct? Okay. So you guys slept inside the keep. There was a little bit of RP that would have happened over there with what's her name. She would have actually explicitly asked, like, I noticed that we're elsewhere. You said we're going to Hod Gwen. Is this Hod Gwen?
Yes, it is.
How did we get here?
Teleportation, a gift from the gods.
The two keeps are linked? I mean, everybody knows that Hod Gwen was built on old mole ruins, but I didn't know that mole ruins were linked to one another.
All places are linked to one another. It just depends if you have the keys to open it. The mole did. We do not. However, we can make use of what they have done.
Mole magic seemed to be very strange. If you don't mind, I know you said that you're looking to rest, but do you mind if I just walk around a little bit?
Very well, but I shall accompany you. It may not be safe. Mole Ruins once hosted a variety of terrors.
You guys would walk around, and inevitably, the room, of course, of interest in this keep here, you'd come into the room that was at one point in time a degree of a workshop with different types of crystals and the like.
Ellen would be
inside of
coming
it.
as well because he's interested in this as well.
Of course, with different types of crystals and whatnot that are inside there. And as you go into that workshop area, you would see, of course, all the different tools and whatever they had used for this. And she'd be like, oh, what? This looks like they were doing some sort of crafting here. And we kind of like walk around and start handling a couple of the items.
Careful what you touch. The crystals may yet still hold charge. The mole found a way to transplace energy of various types into these crystals. They used it to power contraptions, traps, industry.
She says, do you have a firm understanding of their magics?
No, my understanding is theoretical, purely.
She, of course, is looking them over. Now, it's not like she is at any degree a master of understanding mole magic, but I do want to check something out. As I yawn very quickly.
Little baby yawn, little bubble yawn.
Okay, I'm gonna roll this. There we go.
It's a sneak attack roll on Rare, I assume.
She does handle the stuff. I don't know if Aelin or Rayrin is as well. But she does handle some of the gems that are there, kind of filtering through them. And one of the things she'd say is, wait, these are crystals, like the kind that we use as reagents in Amulta. These are the kind of crystals that you use to, what's the word I'm looking for? Exponentially increase power cast through them. These are the kind of crystals that you would literally cast a spell through it and almost like hones the power of that magic into itself and then releases it with greater energy or charge. They're volatile, yes, but they're incredibly powerful. And this kind of crystal over here, she says, go over and grab it. This is a kind of crystal that's designed for capturing magic and keeping it contained, so that only the shattering of this kind of this would ever release it again. It could be used for storing all sorts of things. This is oh, and look at this kind of. Ooh, she says, kind of going over and picking up a different crystal. She's like, this kind of crystal itself already has magic within it, and for the viewers, this last kind of crystal is one that we've seen actually over in the community campaign and in Regicide. Back to this. She says this kind of crystal is volatile in and of itself. It naturally has magic stored inside of itself that somebody could draw from if they know how, or could cast into and, again, greatly increase the effects that comes out the other ends, but usually for explosive means.
I see.
Can I have a look at that?
Which one are you asking about?
The one that has magic in it. The last
that
one she talked about.
innately has magic in it. Sure. She hands it to you. It's one of those things
He
where
would also, when she hands it to him, he would look at Ray and like, "Is this okay?"
these last crystals already have a bit of an innate glow to them. They can kind of like one of those things where it's almost like she picks it up and like dusts it off, and you can see like deep down inside them, they already have their own like internal glow. It's one of those things where if you turned off all the lights, if it was pitch black in here, you could see that there was like a small glow from across the room, but not even enough like a illumination to like see your hand beyond just like darkness past in front of the glow. You know what I mean? So so anyways, lights are on, so you don't really see it beyond. You can see that there's an internal glow there. So she hands it to you.
So can I have a look at it and roll something to see if I have a bit of an understanding of it?
Yep, this would literally be our arcane knowledge or arcana.
Okay, so this one's a little lower than all the others. And I rolled crap. Oh, not too bad, I guess.
You again, you know, actually, your character has no understanding of magic. So, I say very, very limited understanding of magic.
Very limited, yeah.
So you actually have no idea what these are, beyond what you just explained.
You possess quite an expansive knowledge of both reagents and magics, and an ability to detect it within these crystals, Guinevere.
I studied magic back home, and you can see her almost like absentmindedly pull on the left side of her hair, almost like, because it covers half of her face, almost like she's kind of like pulling it taut so that maybe you would pick it up or not. You're welcome to roll a sense motive, but almost like she's making sure, like absentmindedly making sure it covers part of her face fairly well. She says, I did experiments back home with magics. Rayrin would notice it is kind of a nervous tick, but maybe not necessarily notice she's intentionally trying to cover her face.
No, I rolled it because that question was leading in inquiring. Like he's searching at this point. He's sensing.
I'm not going to roll because Ilan wouldn't be worried about that right now. He's too busy looking at the thing. He doesn't think like that yet. Yet.
Interesting.
I've got nothing, I'm sorry, and he'll hand it back. Or to whoever takes it. He'll like extend his hand if someone takes it.
Rayrin smiles like with sympathy as he'd take the crystal and then replace it on the table. Experimentation isn't particularly common in Amulta anymore, what with most of our resources being diverted elsewhere. You must have been there some years ago.
It's been a little bit of time since I left there, but not necessarily as long as you're suggesting. I was fortunate enough to have access to supplies that maybe not everybody else did.
I see. Well, at any rate, it would appear that we are lucky to have you with us. Such a knowledgeable eye will never go amiss.
I don't... My last name is Velmont. And you actually know that her family is of a degree of nobility back home. Specifically her father is Magnus Velmont, who is a retired Magus war hero who became an arcane researcher and politician. He is a very well-known and respected person inside Malta.
Would you?
I believe. Unfortunately, he actually. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say almost completely, sort of not realizing that there's gravity in what was just said. Ilan would just. Would you be able to teach me how to make that medicine? I've got some herbalism skills, but I've never. I wouldn't know where to start with this.
She nods and says, knowledge is meant to be shared amongst people. It shouldn't be locked up and hidden, as we very well know in Amalta. Of course.
I was wondering, actually. Ilin brings up a good point. Within Kurzful, we do not have anyone who is particularly skilled or dedicated to the healing arts. I was wondering if perhaps I might be able to persuade you to stay. I'm sure you could help a great many people. Rayren will step forward and either, depending on how she reacts, place a hand on top of her hand or just rest a hand like here-ish and say, and I would appreciate it as well.
Sense motive.
Sense motive?
Mm-hmm. The best way to probably describe her is she's almost like anime timid schoolgirl, where she's like as the tone changes slightly and the step forward takes place. And Rayron's of course doing the best he can to be calm and charming and whatnot with everything that just transpired to him over the course of the past 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean he looks kind of like
he's still
shit,
sweaty and pale. But anyways, she does that like her arms like oh, sorry, you can't see my hands right now. Her hands got like one hand clasped over her wrist, her arms kind of like pulling tight, and she does like the slight turn sideways and half step back. Not that she's necessarily afraid, but again, it's that she's timid and shy and embarrassed at the moment and everything. But anyways, you make the gesture, and so I imagine it's more of a on the arm as opposed to the hand because
yeah. Well,
personal.
he reads the situation.
Of course. And she's like, well, I do have responsibilities in Hard Gwen, but I would gladly spend my time as much as I can to spare in Kurzfall as well. If I'm allowed to use, and she gestures kind of like weakly through the doorway it just came from, I'm certain I could be there far more often and aid as much as you'd like. I can keep the secret, she says, like interrupting, like blurting it out.
That would, of course, be expected. As well as what I have told you in this room, I presumably will not be spreading the secrets of the mole among others. You have undoubtedly saved my life, and so you've earned a modicum of respect and trust.
She does think for a moment, and she like bites her lip, and she can see she's really nervous. Like you can easily read that she wants to say something, but she's like unsure as to whether or not she should.
As for the matter of your family name, if you intend to tell me the story, my door is open. If not, it would be my honor to protect a king's woman.
She nods and says, thank you, but I understand the portals because of what that could do. We can all understand that it needs to be. You can't just have people being able to walk into your home. That's dangerous. But I literally just said knowledge is meant to be shared. Why are you keeping the mole crystals and magic secret? It's further evidence to prove that the Arcane Congress's way of doing things isn't the only way. Why would you want to keep that hidden?
Have you ever been in a battle?
Not exactly.
There is a time to strike, and there is a time to hold your defenses. Now is the time to hold fast our defenses. The Arcane Congress is not right. However, neither is blindly making accusations or raising a ruckus. Amalta has done so, and it barely hangs by a thread. If we wish to support such claims, we need to do so carefully, through well-reasoned use of logic and magic.
But that logic and understanding, there are far more people out there with far greater minds than our own. the exchange of research between many people. I mean, progress doesn't push forward through one person stumbling across a discovery. Progress happens from the collaboration of many people with small findings working together, and they lay the foundation that others build off of, and so on. Our understanding of magic as it stands doesn't come from maybe our mom or dad making a discovery, but generations of an entire society working together in collaboration to accomplish such a mountainous goal, to construct an ice wall that holds our enemies at bay, and so on. To leave this here so just one kingdom and a couple of people hopefully can unturn the correct stone it's negligence. I'm not going to push and say, she says, I'm not going to push and tell you what to do. I'm at, I suppose, your whim here, but I want you to understand that this isn't the Amulti's way.
Would I know what would the Arcane Congress would do if they found out about this sort of
Confiscate all of it, most likely.
Exactly. Okay, then. With respect.
Actually, you know what? My apologies. You need to roll me a knowledge arcana check on that one.
Arcana?
Or knowledge history, but it's a much higher DC for that one.
Oh, okay. No, that's the same. So I
It's
might
a
as well
difference
just
of
roll
10.
Arcana.
Okay.
Ah, fuck.
You actually wouldn't know that. My apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, the peacekeepers and their tasks aren't something that's super commonly known. It's
In
not
that
an
case,
Amalta. It's not an Amalta.
I would actually ask. Rayron, what would the Arcane Congress do if they knew about this?
He most likely would know. His DC is lower for you. You'd have to roll knowledge arcana, sir.
No one's trying to defuse the situation. He's not good at this.
You're welcome to luck die that, Neil. I can tell you that the DC is set for 15 for you.
Does the thing work?
It's a good question. I don't know. Roll 20 is being funky.
It does not work.
Okay, it may work, but you probably have to slash our 1d4 first to see if it does.
I clicked it. It doesn't work.
No, I believe you, but it could just be the API is lagging, like it often does.
1d4. It's because I want to know how many are in the pool.
Perfect. There you go.
Hey.
I clicked my button on my end. If something pops up, I'll give you a heads up. I do apologize. It's just Roll20's been inundated. Go ahead. If we don't ever get an update, I just don't want to make sure. I don't want to screw over what the viewers have contributed. I'll just set it to 4. So we'll say that you spent 1, and somebody just gave you a new one. So we'll just say you still have 4.
I mean,
we're just gonna hold it there unless you
find it. Oh no, because I can't see all the stuff that's come in.
Yeah.
Rowan would he'd hesitate for a moment, presumably confiscate all such items and suppress any research that doesn't fall in line with their own. Listen, Guinevere, I hear in your words the wisdom of Lady Arenda. However,
she'll actually, when you say that, she'll actually what I think it's a charm around her neck. She actually will pull out a cute little charm around her neck. She has is literally that of a book, and it's one of the many different symbols people would use. So she does pull it out, and she says, "Guilty."
However, I must caution greater wisdom than what you would ask. I do not disagree that this magic could be used to help others. However, a thorough understanding should be gained prior to it. Do you have contact with your father still?
Not exactly.
Do you have contacts in that sort of circle?
Yeah. I have those people back home that I can still speak to.
Then perhaps you would like to look into this for me.
An opportunity to research it myself. I mean, I was a teacher for some years at...
I would ask 2 criteria. First, and I know this is selfish, Kurzweil must be the first to benefit from any such research.
It's
Secondly,
normal.
you share any research with Elliot firsthand. He would greatly desire to know it. It's kind of his life's work, and he would really enjoy the chance to discuss many of these topics with you, I'm sure. You may find his intellect gleams more insights into the mole magic than you would expect for a lackluster magician such as himself.
I haven't met Elliot yet, have I?
Perhaps very briefly in passing. He is one of the advisors, one of the lords of the kingdom. He is a good man, jovial attitude, very intelligent, sometimes an asshole.
Is that a Guinness glass?
Yes.
With a laser etching of the harp at the bottom when you drink it? Oh, it's on the side there.
On the bottom, yeah.
Gotcha. So it's one of the thicker ones then. Decent thickness to it.
Yeah, why?
I love that glass. It's really good because if you grab it by the bottom, it doesn't warm your beer with your hand. It does a good job at insulating the temperature.
That's why it's thick in those aspects.
Yeah. No, I love that glass. That's a good glass.
I took it from a pub many years ago.
You stole it?
No. I didn't
Bought
steal it. I drank my Guinness as I walked home.
Oh yeah, that's right. You live in a different country that they allow such illegal things. I just asked my beer rep, hey, can I have a bunch of those? And he goes, oh, what do you want, a case? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, here you
go. That's not how it works over here.
Yeah. I used to get lots of alcohol that way. But like, oh, can I have a bottle of that? Yeah, I'll sell it to you for $1. Sweet.
Nice.
I miss those days. Anyways, she said she understands. She says, yeah, I'll with Elliot then I'll discuss things. Are you offering me a more formal position within, or you just want me to share research?
Currently, the position of Magister is open. However, I was hoping to return Elliot to that.
Oh, good. I have to say, the fact that this happens to be here in Hodgwen is extremely convenient for being able to access it and work on it very consistently. And the fact that Elliot can just come here makes things very convenient because we can just pass notes to and forth by leaving them here. Is there a lock on this door? She says, kind of like turning over and walking towards the door and checking. She's like, oh, there's no lock on this door. Perhaps we should even come up with a locking mechanism so that random guards don't just come by and happen across things. And because, I mean, these crystals just lying out here would be kind of dangerous.
Worried about the last lock he saw.
Is there a locking spell?
She looks back at you and says, of course. We all learned it when we were young, right?
Yes, some of us didn't have the luxury to hold on to all of their study notes. Unfortunately, lock cannot kill a Perrin.
Oh, that's right.
It looks very like...
Sorry,
okay.
I didn't mean to snap. I'm tired. We should get some more rest. This has been enough adventuring for one night, I think.
She nods and then looks longingly at the stuff in the room like, but I want to do it now.
Can I ask an interesting thing here? What would be the perspective Ilan would have grown up with about a Malta? Because I don't think until now it's really come up in front of Ilan, at least, that Rayron was a Maltese, and then this with Guinevere being from a Malta.
Oh, that's why he exudes this air of eloquence.
It's actually, that's quite the wrong word. It'd be almost like how you can imagine some European countries. You pick the one that happens to fit the mold yourself. They come off as arrogant. You know what I mean? They come off as extremely arrogant, like hoity, like oh, you think you know magic?
Wait, that's how the Arcane Congress come across like.
And so they're almost like this like childish upstart that thinks that they know better than everybody else, but honestly, they don't have a strong understanding of the magic that they're wielding, and so they're seen as almost
America, fuck yeah.
They're almost seen as like these arrogant children. that are playing with toys that they don't fully understand. And so that's kind of like the general perspective, because of course where you grew up in Paradel, you have the Perrin propaganda perspective of, no, these people need to be pulled into our fold because they can't properly manage themselves because of, now you have the Arcane Congress perspective, they're using magics dangerously and they're bringing danger to the people around them. You know what I mean? Well, and you would even have heard the propaganda perspective of, look, they even use children to fuel their ice wall. That is how corrupt and evil they are. You know, and so again, you get very much a wartime propaganda perspective of that. Yeah. It's like, you know, all Russians are angry people. It's like, come on, that's not true. They're just people, you know?
Interesting. This would be an interesting sort of flip on that for him. I don't think he'd say anything now, but it's good to note a way that's very different from the way these two are acting very different from the way he's been brought up to believe the Maltese were like.
Yep. And so does he have a response to that?
No, I was saying I don't think he'd bring it up now, but that's something to note, is what I was saying.
You got scammed, Scott. You thought you were going to get a roll or something like that.
Moving on. So you guys go to bed. You wake up at just shy of 5 a.m, Jake, and they of course come and get you. You will head out to go and specifically you're going to go and immediately to go through the portal, or what you're going to find Elliot. What's your plan?
I'll probably go immediately through the portal to get ready and that. I'll probably tell guard to fetch my axe and have it ready for when I come back.
Fetch my axe.
And I will step through and try and find...
What do you mean by fetch your axe? Where is it?
Through it in the hallway somewhere.
Oh, down the hall.
He slowly drops his trousers.
So my apologies.
Don't worry about the knot.
You go through the portal. It's very easy to find them because they're literally sleeping at the bottom of that chute that you guys slid down at one point in time. Not directly at the bottom, but you know, over in that area, they just kind of like pulled up a little bit of, you know, bed rolls or whatever it is a guard went and got for them, and they're sleeping in there. They actually got
is very comfortable.
A similar amount of sleep as you did.
Looking at Rayron's arm, is it like on display or is it covered up?
It's bandaged.
Okay, good. I'll probably just...
I don't know whether that means you can't see anything. Check with Scott. Look at his little face. He's evil. Look at him.
Yeah,
he's doing something. Can I
tell if anything's up with his arm?
Up with his arm in what way?
Is it like, I wanted to know more or less if his devil arm is covered.
He covered it.
Oh, don't call it that.
Oh, actually, I have an idea.
He just said it's bandaged. It's covered.
Okay.
Yeah, but we need to check.
Just making sure that
he has a name. It's Nan Armo.
Can I?
Did you see
this?
Green's message in chat, Jake? What's up, Tesh?
Still
not too late.
Just wakes him up. Just.
I'm not awake yet, so I can't do this anyway. So.
You wake up. You. It's one of those things. Unless you're telling me that Aelin is a super heavy sleeper, it's one of those things
wake
where
up and he's staring at you.
You're super light sleeping, as everybody's kind of on edge, and you've only had a couple hours. Go ahead, Tesh.
So if I see one inspector like looking at Rayron's arm, I obviously have an idea about why he's doing that. Can I do one of these?
Yeah.
Does it give off anything?
You just kind of like sit up and you're like, Voropa, whatever.
Yeah, because I know that magic was used on it yesterday, and the Arcane Congress is involved. I thought maybe like he was sent here so the magic could fade or something. He's checking to see if there's anything coming off it.
I mean, there was evil that was on it beforehand.
Yeah, I didn't see that though.
Correct. There is no magical aura coming off of the arm specifically. There's lots of magical auras around you. Of course.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
and one of the things that you notice is that Rayron's sword is glowing a lot brighter than the last time you looked.
You casting a spell though, my head would kind of snap towards your direction and just say, "What are you doing?"
Well, I mean, you can spellcraft and know what he's doing.
I don't have
DC.
spellcraft.
Oh,
so-
never mind.
That's right, Scott. I need to
Yeah.
roll for my sword.
I was just seeing.
You
if
don't
his
have to
arm
right
was
now.
giving off
Oh,
a magic
same day.
aura from yesterday when he was healed. Magic was used. I assume that's what you were looking at.
His face kind of softens and he's like, was there anything?
It's not. No. His sword is giving off a lot though, more than last time.
He'd nod, and he'd say, "Is Raren awake now?"
You'd imagine Rayrin. Well, Rayrin, I would say, is actually a bit heavier of a sleeper unless you actively woke him up, just because of what he
Rayrin
went
is
through.
heavier sleeper, but when you start discussing the sword and how it's glowing, an eye would crack open, because although he's asleep, the sword is not, and it's like someone's checking me out, buddy. One, back so soon.
Yes, I met briefly with the gnomes. I'm going to need your help. I don't think I have the strength to deal with it alone. They try my patience. I remember I once helped you. Now I'm afraid I must rely on you to help me.
Well, who does have the patience to deal with gnomes? Very well. Rainer would hobble up. He'd use the sword to push himself up before stretching, affixing the scabbard, and then saying, "Very well. What is the plan? What do we know?"
Elliot is compiling a list of the charges that appear they appear to be accusing us of. I'll probably look over to the. How old is the woman? Is it a woman or a girl?
Woman, 20s. It's funny too, because you look at her, she's sleeping so peacefully. It's one of those things where she's passed out. It's not like snoring or anything. Now that it's been said, you characters know, you can clearly tell there's a grace to her, even in just the way that she rests in this ridiculous scenario. Though she definitely grew up with a degree of nobility to her. You know what I mean?
Is she actually asleep?
As far as you can tell, yeah. Your character's a really good sense of motive. Feel free to roll.
Thanks. That's what I was pushing for.
He leans in and he's like,
what?
He
Are you
does not
sleeping?
do that. Thank you.
sorry.
I would look over to her though, and look back to Rayron and say, maybe these things shouldn't be discussed in front of present company.
Very well. I do not worry about her betraying us, however. She seems more afraid of the Arcane Congress than we are.
Well,
Perhaps we should head to the map room then. Ilan, come on. It will do you some good to meet these people face to face.
Okay.
Though, probably best to not mention any of your abilities in front of them.
Yeah, yes.
Probably best to not mention much at all.
Sorry, we're laughing at Green in chat. Green's on point today. He's like, Stern Geese does not come with an off switch. He's on point today. Paladin Green for the win. All right. Hey, listen, Paladin is a charisma-based class, just saying.
That is my moniker, all right? You don't get to use Paladin
Shut
Green.
up.
I do.
He's been called Paladin Green by Josh first. Continue, boys.
He considered turning off my camera briefly there.
Yeah.
That's what that was. He was like...
I will crush this ant.
I mean, yeah, we go through to our map room, I guess.
Of course. Do you leave her just sleeping there?
Ryan would write her a brief note saying we've gone back.
Okay.
It's not difficult. He carries a pen.
Of course. And then probably instruct a guard to like guide her out of there so she can get back to her, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And of course she said she'll keep the secret and everything. So, all right. So you guys head back to your own map room, and when you head back in to the map room, you'll actually it's one of those things where literally the map room, you guys walk into it, you close things settle in, and as you're kind of like going towards the door to open it, like a second and a half later, the door opens up, and what's his name? Elliot comes walking in. He's looking a little bit like Idric at the moment. He's got bags under his eyes. He looks very tired. And he comes walking into the room, and he says, and you actually see that he has the amber
Book of
with him,
Laws.
the amber jewel with him as he's walking in. And so he walks in, and he's like, I'm glad to see that everybody has gathered. Morning.
Elliot.
It's like 5:30 in the morning. Yep.
Rarian would give Elliot like a questioning look, like, why are you bringing this man in here?
Yep. He says, so I got to thinking last night, should we all, and he gestures into the room, have a seat?
Yeah, Rarian would go and happily sit down. Heavier than usual.
He looks to the guard and says, please, as much coffee and tea as can be mustered, and can you wake the cook? We're going to need breakfast good and early. And he looks back into the room and looks back and says, I think everybody wants bacon. And then we'll walk into the room.
Got devil blood? Bacon.
Yeah, that's
Tired? Bacon. Hungover? Bacon.
Bacon.
Arms literally burnt to a crisp? Bacon.
Bacon.
What was I saying? Yeah, so he comes walking in, sits down, kind of like gathers his notes or whatever first, and then he continues and says, so I got to thinking last night when I was doing my research, and honestly, what they're trying to accuse us, I couldn't quite figure it out. I spent some time, I tried to look through the language. Maybe I'm just not understanding exactly what they're saying here. Whatever it is, I realized at least one thing. These guys are assholes. You can't consistently walk into every throne room, every council, every meeting, from a Turumbar to a king to a queen you can't walk into every scenario and speak this way and expect to command this kind of presence. Now, I have no experience with them any more than you do, because none of us have served in such ways in any other council or on any other thrones. And he gestures towards Sunstone and says, someone else has. And so I asked. And he says, I guess I'll defer to you on this one. And then gesturing towards the amber jewel says, I've in fact sat in several meetings with things like this, and I can tell you from my firsthand accounts that this is highly unusual that they're treating you this way. If I were to surmise why it is that they're treating you this way, it's actually because you're nobody. And I don't mean this as an insult. Clearly, I appreciate what it is that you're doing here as a kingdom. I've offered you my services.
Yes, platitudes. I understand entirely.
He nods, appreciating that. You're nobody. And so they're throwing their weight around, expecting to push hard on your thumb. Push hard with their thumb. If I were to give you advice on how to handle this, tell them straight out that you don't respect the way that they're handling this, and that while you will go through with the motions as to not stand outside the laws that you've agreed to, tell them that if they don't change their tone, your laws will take effect as they are standing within your borders. And I don't know fully what your laws are for disrespecting a throne, but throw your laws back in their face. and give them their only warning. Make sure they understand that you will adhere to theirs as they must adhere to yours.
Interesting. You say this doesn't occur elsewhere, Master Sunstone?
He shakes his head and says, I wouldn't say that. I'd say not in my experience.
Perhaps you would be so kind as to, he glanced to the others, if we believe it's appropriate to keep a transcription of the meeting.
Of course. That would be very easy.
He glanced to one to affirm that perhaps keeping a record of their rudeness would help to either alleviate it or justify any punishments that we decide to mete out.
Now, I don't want to throw my weight around in this one, but I will straight out say to you, my presence alone will change tone. The jewels don't work with just anybody. We all understand this. I believe that's why you made the offer that you did originally, and why I'm only temporarily here. Just my being there gives you a degree of more weight in their eyes. Thank you. Actually, out of game, Neil. Legitimacy. Perhaps if things work out well, a more permanent representative can be had in the future.
In that case, we would gladly accept your aid.
He says, for the temporary situation, he says, and I'm gladly offering it, though I will say that bacon does sound rather nice right now. It is in short supply in a Malta, and as you imagine on the road, you don't get much of it either.
Of course.
He will look to you and say, for the record, is that why you left a Malta? The supply of bacon?
I rather don't like the cold.
He'll chuckle, you know. And so, then from there...
Ooh, he knows Raywin's past. He knows he was posted on the ice wall. Interesting. Yet another sense motive for that role.
I mean, to be fair, who did he travel here with?
Yeah, I know.
You know, yeah. So, anyways, you guys are did you not work the front with the road? You guys are.
I would actually like for you to speak like that for the entire session.
Oh, okay.
Why?
That or DJ Myson for me, I think. That DJ Myson stuff. I've gone back and listened to that so much. I love it. I wasn't paying like full attention. Then I just heard that.
It was pretty great.
It was.
Funny.
Did anybody clip it?
Yeah.
I think Steve did.
It is clipped and it is glorious.
I'll have to go into the clip.
It better have been clipped.
Better have been clipped. Wow, you guys are so aggressive.
Should we have a break before this, Scott?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I imagine from here, your characters are getting together your notes and so on and so forth, kind of preparing for the meeting. When we come back, I'm going to have you guys make one more check to see if you can also kind of decipher what it is that unfortunately Elliot failed miserably at. But we're going to be rolling against some pretty high DCs because you have a very short period of time to try to decipher it, right? But luckily you do have the Amber here to assist you. And just to be clear about this last detail, that was the intelligence check that Elliot made. His intelligence check was, I can't figure this shit out, but I know somebody that might be able to. Wake up, buddy. All right, we'll be back shortly. I really got to pee, and hopefully I can find some food. So, bye.
Well, those might work together for you.
Ew.